Hey friends, so welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name's Holly with the Nest Valley Farmhouse, and I thought it'd be a little bit easier to do this video kind of talking to you guys, chatting a little bit, because I know that I probably have more to say than what I can and do like my normal day in the life films. So today I'm going to talk about like my top, I think I have 7 here, homemaking tips, and basically talking about like these are all things that I do. I did not find any of this on a website, though I'm sure there's going to be tons of overlap. These are all things that have like made me more productive, I guess I should say, and helped me to kind of hone in on my homemaking craft. I don't know. So I would say probably the last year for sure, I've really started diving more into trying to just kind of up my homemaking game, kind of focus more on my viewing it as a job, viewing it as something that since, you know, I don't work for a company, I work for my husband, kind of viewing it that way, I guess. And so I feel like for me, these 7 tips have really helped me kind of streamline things, simplify things, you know, that kind of stuff. So these are all about my like homemaking tips. I'm going to do some more videos in the future maybe talking about each one of these tips a little bit more individually, just so that I can like maybe expound upon them a little bit more. So anyway, starting off with the first thing, of course, is have some sort of routine or flow. I think for those of us that are used to like structured work environments, I'm a huge routine person. I've said that before. I find myself really needing a routine, and that's something that I've even noticed with my kids too. And I know that's something that I've not been very good at as the kids come home from school. It's kind of been a little bit hectic because we've had things change, like sports and sports change, extracurricular activities. We have a lot going on in general. When you have a large family, you always, even if it doesn't feel like a lot, it's a lot, because you know it's a lot to get all the kids organized to go out to said sport and whatever. So having kind of a flow, a routine, I have kind of little sections of the day that I try to do. Like when I first wake up, one of the first things you normally see me do is my dishes, because I actually don't always do my dishes right before bed, because we're just so go in the afternoons, like after school. The kids have practices, and sometimes their practices don't get done till like 8 p.m. And my bigger thing for me is I need to make sure that I get enough rest so I can tackle the next day. So it is important for me to get to bed on time. I try to be in bed by 9 p.m. Sleeping generally hopefully by 9:30, because my alarm goes off at 5:30 every morning, and then I'm normally up and around getting the kids ready for school at 6:30. So it's kind of like, so I need to have that flow and routine. And so I find in the morning I generally tackle the kitchen. I generally tackle maybe a few things in the dining room or in the living room, just kind of your main living area. And I noticed that I just having like kind of set, okay, this is what I'm doing, has really helped me. Number 2, and this is really important, always make sure you're building in rest and or margin each day. So basically this will go along with point number 3. Make sure that you're resting no matter what. And yes, it's hard because sometimes you can get on a roll. I can sometimes get hyper focused on things, and then I end up just being completely overwhelmed, burnt out, and then I just don't want to do it anymore, especially when you're like halfway through a decluttering room, right? So I try to take things in smaller chunks and build in that rest. Which brings me to my 3rd point. Separate your day into kind of little blocks of time, and make sure one of those blocks of time is your rest time. My schedule is I wake up at 5:30. I may or may not work out. I've kind of slowly started doing workouts again in the morning, but to be honest, that doesn't always happen. I'm only doing them like 3 days a week because that's all that I can manage. And they're like 30-minute roughly workouts. But I get up at 5:30, I get myself ready, whether I work out, shower, do all those things, and then at 6:30 I'm getting the kids up. And normally between 6:30 and 7:15 is when the first bus, we have to go get the first bus. And the reason why we get up kind of with short time is because I'm trying to give my kids as much sleep as possible, especially with the sports getting over later, like because their bedtime is 8. But my older kids don't always go to bed at 8 or don't always fall asleep at 8, so I'm trying to give them as much sleep as possible. And then I kind of have like my first working block at about after the last kid goes up to the bus. And that's normally between 7:38 up until maybe 10 or up until 11. So that's kind of my morning block. That is where I do a lot of my chores for the day. So if it's like today's Thursday, so I will be doing my upstairs chores after, like I always start with that kind of morning routine, and I normally do that kind of in the time that I'm getting kids up and around to school. So I'm kind of puttering around, so to speak. And then basically I do my chores for the day, my cleaning chores. I've basically done my best to get it down to where it's maybe taking me maybe an hour, hour 15, maybe 2 if I'm really like working on a project. But that's kind of what I reserve for laundry. So sometimes I am just kind of hanging out waiting for laundry to cycle. And then I fold it, put it away, and I try to be done by 11, and that's when I feed my younger 2 kids lunch that are home with me. And then normally after lunch, so between 11:30 noon, I normally eat lunch closer to noon, and then from like noon till about 3 is my rest time. Now, if I don't always get done with what I want to get done in the morning, I will take some of that time to do. Normally it's like folding another load of laundry because, you know, laundry takes time. But that is when I try to build in my rest, right in the middle of my day. It really has helped. I've even started just like putting on a show for the kids and just kind of resting, like laying on the couch while the kids are watching a show. And it's really helped just kind of my body reset. And then kind of my second block of time, or third block of time, sorry, is from that like 3 p.m. when my older 2, my elementary kids get home from school. And then my oldest will get home from school at about 4:45 or 4:30. And so basically I start with I will do an afternoon tidy. So I've done that before. I'll send the kids outside. Normally they might come home from school, watch a show. And so I'm still kind of getting maybe the kitchen tidied up or something from lunch. And then I will, send them all outside, send them upstairs to play while I just do another kind of quick tidy. And then when my oldest gets home from school, it's normally I'm starting dinner. I normally start dinner around 4:30, and then after that, dinner's between 4:30 and between 5:30ish. My husband, depending on when he gets home, he will or will not eat with us because I'm not, the kids normally need to eat around 5:30 depending, because they're always, you know, they always have a little snack when they get home from school, but they're always like famished by then, you know. So I feel that overall, I definitely feel that having those blocks of time have really helped me organize my day, especially whenever you struggle in general with just organization. And sometimes I feel like it helps me know what to expect next. It's good for my kids to kind of know, like, during this time, we're playing upstairs, we're playing outside, we're watching a show, and then it helps them. And then normally after dinner, it's either, depending on the night, it's bath night, and then normally we'll let them watch a couple more shows before bed. And that's just how I divide it. Dividing it up really helps just kind of organize things in general for me. Fourth tip is pick a room or area each day to work on. So this is another huge thing for me, is I do not do everything all in one day. Unless it's like a once over before company comes or before a big event, because we do host a lot of parties, we do game nights. I'm actually excited. I'll be doing something special this spring, and hopefully I will bring you along with me while I'm doing it. I'm kind of excited, but having that focus really helps me deep clean those areas. So like Monday, it's normally kind of resetting from the weekend, especially. So it's kind of, sometimes on Monday's a little bit slower. My kids have a late start, so they don't actually go to school until like 8:30 and 9, which means that like I don't always have like as much block time in the morning to get stuff done, but I normally use it as like just kind of tidying up and just like resetting my main living area from the weekend. Because I've told you before, Sundays, I really try to rest on Sundays. I will only do the basics like dishes, cook meals, and you know, and the house just gets messy. I got 5 kids and they're pretty good for the most part, but they're also kids, right? So I really feel that really helps me to not overwhelm. So by the end of the week, each section of my house will be addressed and will be deep cleaned. And that's why it only takes me maybe an hour and 50 minutes to do each of these things. Now, some days I do more work than others, and I've actually, moving on to another point, I've actually broken it up to kind of help me too when I get overwhelmed. Tip number 5, I had to think about that. Make a list or use a planner. A lot of people like the Fly Lady. She has kind of a app that you can use. I've used it before. I like her style. Some of it was a little overwhelming for me. She does kind of similar things that I do, where like you focus on certain sections each week, and I might try to get back to that too, especially when I'm trying to like really get some spring cleaning done. So I might do a separate video on that, kind of talking about following the Fly Lady's thing for a week and kind of showing you like how it works. But having like lists, I use a planner. I got this at Walmart. You can find, there's a Passionate Penny Pincher. She has an amazing planner I used for several years. It just was kind of getting out of my budget, and I was feeling more confident. I didn't need all the extras, but she has an amazing planner. I will go ahead and link it below. That's what I've used for years, but this year I just tried to like do everything as cheaply as possible. But I have just my planner. It goes through the week. I write down, there's tasks up here, my to-do list, and then this is like our schedule, like what we have going on. And I feel like it has been a game changer I started doing that probably a few years ago, but like really honing into that, having lists, it just really helps you stay organized. And it just, checking things off for me is like a mental, like it makes me feel like I've accomplished something. Because I feel like one of the hardest things being at home, being a homemaker, is when you don't really always feel like you're getting the same appreciation that you would at like a job for doing the things, even doing the things like well or whatever. Like my husband, of course, will tell me he appreciates it, but it's hard too, because you know, it's not always on their radar. Like, so sometimes I feel like having this kind of gives me that mental like, yeah, I did it, I got something done, and it helps motivate me to keep going. So number 6 is breaking big jobs into smaller jobs. So I touched on this a little bit before. So like real life example, the upstairs is kind of the kids' domain, so it tends to get messier more than the rest of the house because I'm not always up there. Thursdays are normally like my upstairs cleaning day, and I would just start getting overwhelmed. So upstairs we have a big playroom, which all the kids' bedrooms are off of, and like depending on what's going on during the week, it can get really messy. So So what I started doing is on Tuesdays, and the reason why Tuesdays I do a lot more work is because of the way my schedule goes. My kids, I'm generally more motivated earlier in the week, and my kids have their full school day, because the way they do school around here is they have a late start every Monday, so it's kind of a shorter school day for them every Monday, which works out because normally Mondays I'm kind of slowly recovering from, depending on how busy we are on the weekend. And of course, recently we've been super busy on the weekend, so it's been really nice to just have like that extra time to kind of slowly get into my routine. So I started adding cleaning up the playroom on Tuesday, and that's all I do. The kids' bedrooms I don't touch. I will do sheets for the kids, but I find that it has helped because I would get to Thursday and I would just be so burnt out, because you know, you're so busy during the week, and Thursday it's kind of that like going on to the weekend, and I would just not want to do it, or I'd only do like half of it, and then it would still be messy, and then it just, you know, it gets worse and worse and worse. So when I broke it down where I just do the playroom, and sometimes I don't even vacuum, it's just picking up the playroom, just putting stuff in their toy boxes, putting stuff off the floor so that there's not toys everywhere. That's really helped. So breaking bigger jobs down into smaller jobs really helps. I know some people might do like, I have 3 bathrooms in my house. People do like 1 bathroom Monday, 1 bathroom Tuesday, 1 bathroom Wednesday. For me, when I have all the bathroom cleaning stuff out, it's easier for me just to like sweep through all of them. But like I do clean the upstairs bathroom on Thursday, which is another thing that I might move to a different day just to get, because I might just do all the bathrooms on Tuesday, and then that way it's done, and Thursday I don't have as much to do. So the last and final thing that I feel like is probably the most that I use when you are overwhelmed, when life is too busy, just do the basics. There are times in your life when you bring home a new baby, when you know, your kids are super busy, when it's summertime and you have all the kids home, or you know, you're a homeschool mom and there's certain times that of the week that it's hard, like the kids are kind of getting tired, and so just do the basics. Normally I would say tidy up, so pick up toys, pick up stuff, dishes, maybe wipe down your kitchen, and then like the bathrooms, they can like I would just do a quick wipe down versus like doing the full like sweep everything. If you need to, just go back to the basics, and that might be different for whatever you're comfortable with. Because I mean, if I just did the basics in my house, I could probably not deep clean, but I could, like, my mom calls it a lick and a promise, and basically just do all of like the basics in like an hour, hour and a half. So if that's what you need, then go ahead and take it. I don't believe that like this whole homemaking thing, you need to be perfect. I do get a little bit frustrated with some people that kind of have that, and I don't mean like anything against them, but just kind of have that mentality, like thinking that people back in the day kept their houses much better. It's like, no, they didn't. I think it's like how we have social media now, but they didn't have that back in the 1950s. So we can see more reality of like how people truly lived. And when, you know, the only sources you have are like curated TV sources that only wanted to show like the highlights and the perfectness of families, or books or whatever that were written by people that were only wanted to show like one side. It's really hard to know like how they really handled it. So I do believe overall there's definitely a lot more room for nuance, a lot more room for like reality. Like when you live with a lot of kids or with a big family, your house is not always going to look like Pinterest, and that's totally okay. My biggest thing is, as long as I can pick things up, as long as I can make it look nice in a reasonable amount of time, and for me, it's about an hour to get the whole house, like I said, tidied up. For some people, they might want less time, and that's great. So I hope that those were helpful. I know that they are things that have kind of helped my perspective as I've started homemaking. So if you guys enjoyed that, please give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.